All right, y'all, so I'm out here in my yard today, kind of far away from the camera. I thought this was kind of artistic. I don't know. This is all gonna be one take. I'm not gonna do a lot of editing for this video. I'm just gonna spice up the video by adding some music real quick. There you go, there's some music. I hope you enjoy. So yeah, I've officially read enough books to where I can now be pretentious and know what I'm talking about, so we're gonna do that. Today's video is gonna be specifically about Crime and Punishment and Thus Spake Zarathustra. A lot of people like Crime and Punishment and Nietzsche and his works individually, but after reading both of these books, I can definitively say they go hand in hand with each other thematically. I read this book this year, and as you can see, I bookmarked everything. Like, I put so many little notes on it. And Crime and Punishment I read almost 2 years ago now, but it's such a good book that the entire plot is ingrained in my head, so I can talk about it confidently and, you know, still be accurate fairly enough to demonstrate my point here. So this video is going to be more of like a defense of Dostoevsky rather than Nietzsche. I'm not very in tune with Nietzsche. I've only read one of his books, but when I saw the similarities between these works, I just had to hop on here and make a video about it. And yeah, I absolutely adore Crime and Punishment, and I've read a lot of Dostoevsky compared to Nietzsche, so yeah, there's gonna be kind of one-sided, sorry. So for this part of the video, I'm basically just gonna be describing the first 100 pages of Crime and Punishment. Crime and Punishment is the story about this lawyer, Raskolnikov, and he is currently trying to put himself through law school to become a lawyer, and he's very down on his luck. And when the novel starts, he's going through a process where he's selling every single last one of his possessions to this old mean landlady. I'm going to keep the names simple. I'm only going to mention Raskolnikov, that way the viewer who's trying to understand the plot doesn't get lost, because a lot of these Russian names are just ridiculous for at least people that aren't very accustomed to it. So I'm going to kind of be, you know, I'm going to have some mercy on y'all. So he's going through the process of selling his possessions, and basically what Dostoevsky does here is he gives this main character in these first 100 pages every reason, economical, morally, everything. He incentivizes and almost justifies the act of murder for Raskolnikov, because he weighs out his options. This old woman is a mean person who has enslaved her niece. She's taking everything from everyone in the neighborhood. She's rich, and she's not even distributing her wealth, and she's miserable, and she's already on the brink of dying, and this money would help him and his sister not marry into a family that's going to be mistreating her. Because also in these pages, he has a sister and a mother, and the sister is currently trying to get married to this very rich guy who's a nihilist, practically the antagonist of the story. And she's only going to marry him so that she could get some of his money to help him go through law school. So he sees all this, and he comes to the rational conclusion: I'm just going to kill this old woman, right? God isn't real. I don't believe in God. I'm an atheist. I believe that morality is a man-made concept that is only holding us back from our truest potential. So he comes to the woman's apartment, and he kills her with an axe. He goes through this elaborate plan. He plots this murder out to perfection, and he goes up to the old lady, kills her. Murder gets complicated. Another person walks in. I'm not going to say who, that doesn't really matter. Kills her. Now, for the rest of the story, that was the crime element. The rest of the novel is the punishment. Now, a lot of people think that the punishment is like prison or torture. The punishment is psychological. He gets away with it. And if anything, he doesn't want to get away with it. He wants to be caught because he knows in his heart that he did something wrong. Regardless of if his reasoning was good, he still feels guilt for something that was, not to say right, but for all intents purposes, should have felt right. And that links hand in hand to, now we're going over to the Nietzsche part. Nietzsche's philosophy of the Übermensch. The Übermensch is a concept that was born out of his novel Thus Spake Zarathustra, which is an incredible book. He wrote it in 10 days. Now, if you look it up online, it's going to tell you it took a year, but throughout that year, he only wrote it in random bursts of enlightenment and inspiration, and in total, the writing process was 10 days inside of the year. So, needless to say, Nietzsche was another monster of his time, one of the greatest writers and philosophers, and he was very much an atheist. And in this book, I'm not going to really mention the plot, because I don't really want to mention the plot of this book as much as Crime and Punishment. Not just because I'm not as accustomed to Nietzsche, but also because I don't think it's very necessary to describe the personification of the Übermensch in this book. It's not very It's not, I don't want to pad out the runtime. So in this book, he introduces the philosophy of the Übermensch, the Superman. The Superman is an individual who has risen above religion. He's risen above morality, and he is the perfect man. He is exactly what needs to be. He's intellectual, he's strong. He's basically the next evolution. This is what Nietzsche believes every human being should become to progress society. The Übermensch takes there is no morality there. His own morality is the one that's justifiable, because from reasoning and rationalization, you can come to the conclusion that what you're doing is right without needing a book telling you what's right or wrong, which is the Bible or any other religion. Now, of course, Nietzsche did this with the purest intention of advancing the human race in his own way. This is how he thought everything should be. But I think that Crime and Punishment is the perfect example of why it cannot be. So a lot of you are probably watching this video who are not accustomed to this and think, well, this one came first. Thus Spake Zarathustra came first, and then Crime and Punishment was the ultimate response to this book. But no, Dostoevsky wrote this in the 1860s. Thus Spake Zarathustra came out in the 1880s. Crime and Punishment is the ultimate response to a novel that came out 20 years later. I really do believe that Dostoevsky was the greatest visionary of his time, simply because he saw everything coming, either through communism or the intense exodus of religion in not just Russia, but Germany and a lot of the European areas. He kind of saw it all coming. His magnum opus, his crowning achievement, The Brothers Karamazov, shows that even if religion is incorrect, if you choose the right one, it is still good to follow those rules, for your life will be better. There's not really a Brothers Karamazov video, but take an example with Brother Ivan and Brother Alyosha. Ivan is his strongest character intellectually, and his presence is intense. He's highly intelligent, and he wins every debacle he has with his brother Alyosha about religion, and yet he is proven wrong not through argument but through action. I will have to make a different video on the Brothers Karamazov another day, because that's just another brilliant book. But that was his ultimate defense of Christianity, and well, I'd say that with Crime and Punishment, he destroyed the philosophy of the Übermensch before it was even conceived in the mind of Nietzsche, because Raskolnikov is the Übermensch. He is a man who is no longer in faith. He is an atheist. He is highly intellectual. He believes he knows it all. And for the most part, he kind of does. He knows that what he's doing is technically a net positive. He underestimated how much of an effect it would have on him psychologically. Because you can block off your emotions all you want, but trauma and PTSD is still going to affect you, because at the end of the day, you're human. You cannot cut those ties. Raskolnikov is a normal individual. He's not a psychopath. So when he does this, it does affect him emotionally and morally. It completely changes him. Like pre-murder Raskolnikov and post-murder Raskolnikov are two different characters. They're not the same person anymore. And I believe that that was the ultimate destruction of the philosophy of the Übermensch, because Raskolnikov was this incredible person, but then at the end of the novel, spoiler alert, he can't take it anymore, and he turns himself in and does the right thing. I've done a bad thing, even if it led to good. And just blatantly, I'm just going to say this, he even stole the money, and instead of doing what he wanted to do with it, he just hid it and never touched it, because remorse is a hell of a thing. So yeah, I just wanted to come out here and make this short little video on this past, like, it just came to my head one night. I was like, you know, I just read Thus Spake Zarathustra, and I remembered back on Crime and Punishment, because after reading that book, it's just always stuck with me. It's always in my head somewhere. It's like running on autopilot back here. It's just constantly playing. And I was like, you know, like the Übermensch is a perfect caricature of Raskolnikov and his philosophy pre-murder. And I was like, I'm just going to come out here and make a little video for the YouTube channel. And yeah, that's really all I have to say. I'd recommend you definitely read these books if you haven't. And I hope I didn't ruin it too much for you. I came out here after making the thumbnails, which I'm very proud of. And yeah. This was a defense of Dostoevsky, not Nietzsche. If you like Nietzsche, you know, I like him too as a writer, just because I don't really incorporate his philosophy into my life as much as I incorporate Dostoevsky's. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong. I mean, I don't denounce Nietzsche. Even though, in my personal belief, his philosophies led to a lot of bad in the world, I still believe he did it with good reasons. And if you like Nietzsche more than Dostoevsky, hey, you know what? You're all welcome here. This is just my my philosophical inquiry. You can leave it in the comments below why you disagree and put some more points. I'm only sort of embarking in my philosophical journey, and I'm enjoying it so far. And yeah, I'd say that this was a good little video to record out here, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Go read Crime and Punishment. Okay.